player of that caliber to be traded at that point of the offseason is sort of unprecedented.
Well, we will get into the effect that Micah Parsons has had on the betting markets, but as a whole, I've got to start with the fact that I have an unbelievably hard task at hand, actually, Josh. I mean, like, it's a good problem.
It's a great problem.
I got a big wad of cash here, a lot of Hondies. You know, you like to see the Hondies. The Brewers over 83.5 wins ticket has been cashed. Now, as I'm looking at the payouts, $1.99 $0.10, $90.50, $90.15, $18.10, $36.20. You are part of the only person to bet $30 on it, so you're $54.30. I got to go to the cashier because they can only give you a maximum amount of 20s at the sports book. So at this point, Josh, I actually need your help. Like, what do I do with the cents portion of all this?
Well, what I would say, since you were the person, now this is sort of how we left off season 1, was the bet on the over 83.5 wins for the Milwaukee Brewers. And then since then, we've just watched the best team in all of baseball reel off win after win after win, multiple win streaks that sort of made it seem like it wasn't real. You had the ability to, and you were on your honeymoon, so you didn't do it. You could have cashed that bet before September.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And
we hemmed and hawed about this, and we all felt pretty confident. I tried to play devil's advocate and couldn't believe myself.
Because, I mean, the over-under for the Brewers at 83.5 was higher than it was last year when they won the division.
Yes.
And you're coming into a year where Devin Williams is gone. Like
Willie
Adames walks. You don't get anything for him.
Yes.
And so, and if we're being honest, we all know those first 4 games weren't exactly a Christmas gift for the start of the season. It's 162 games for a reason. I think the fascinating part about cashing it before September is if you would have told everyone who was on the over 83.5 wins for the Brewers that they would start 0-4, have a run differential of minus 35 or something wrong.
I thought it was near 40.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was historically bad. And now they're one of the league leaders in run differential in the same season after starting. To me, it wasn't about the 0-4 hole. It was the fact as well that they were in that run differential spot in 4 games of minus 30 plus, and now they have swung not only the wins but the run differential. They haven't just been sneaking, 3-1, 2-0. The bats are real, and there are ebbs and flows, as we all know in baseball. 4 and 6 in the last 10, but the team has showed us that if their back is against the wall, they're going to respond.
Yeah, and the great thing that we've seen is the way the Brewers sort of took over all of our summers and our attention in a way that I don't know if they have in a really long time. This is one of the more fun seasons as a Brewers fan, and the great part is the amount of people you were able to rally all onto the same bet to all sort of join in and keep their eyes on it. It made it fun around the office, fun to talk about on all of our shows, and to have it happen this early in a team that's pushing for they could get to 100 wins at this point is simply unbelievable.
Well, it's already fun when you're watching the team that you love win. It's even more fun when you know you're going to cash a bet a month early while they're winning 14 straight games in a row.
Right. I've talked a lot about how I don't like putting too much money on a lot of futures because you tie up your bankroll. Well, if you told me I'd cash them a month early, I'd be in a lot more.
Sign me up. Signed, sealed, delivered. So yeah, this is going to be quite the challenge to spread out the money.
I think honestly, and this is speaking for me. I know you'll probably have a different story with Kyle Wallace. I'm okay with like rounding to the nearest 5 or 10, and that doesn't it's not good. If you end up whatever my total is supposed to be, keeping 54.30,
so do I go to 55 and give you 70 cents?
I think I think that's how you do it.
Coming off my tab.
And then the other ones where it's like closer the other way, I don't know. I don't know how to do this.
Kyle Wallace, who you mentioned, wins on his $10 season-long bet.
He's going to want his
$18.10.
He's going to be looking for that dime.
So
is it? Do you just Venmo this and keep the cash? Is that the right move?
Ooh, now you're talking.
Right.
So one quick thing before we move on to the Green Bay Packers. For the Kyle Wallace lowest bet of the $850 in total that went into this Brewers over-under, a collected $1,500 plus dollars, Kyle will get $18.10 of that. But I thought to myself, the reason why we thought it would be fun is because, A, the NL Manager of the Year, Pat Murphy, was someone we all liked. I think we all love now.
Mm-hmm.
B, they consistently have been in contention. 6 of the last 7 years made the playoffs, going to be 7 of the last 8 years. And so it's one thing to place a season-long bet because you're like, all right, if I throw 100 on like the season, for every game I watch and every game, it's like at least I have something on it, even if it's $1.
Right.
The quick math, $10 divided by 162 games. Kyle Wallace has enjoyed a 6 cents per game on his bet. 6 cents per game through 162 games to get him to the $10.
Well, as the man who took $3 to Las Vegas with him, he's doing well. 6 cents per game. That's above expectations for him. He went to a place.
He can afford the buffet now.
Right. That's just an unbelievable. The thing is, and I don't know if this conversation is for today. We still definitely have time left before the postseason. But there's some reinvestment opportunities.
So here's the thing. Everyone who's a part of this bet has already gone to me. Not everybody, but the ones who are very excited because, Josh, as you mentioned, there are a lot of people that may not gamble a lot, but like what they've experienced is very rare.
Uh-huh.
When you're collecting in September with a month 25 days left in the season, I'm already getting well, can you just take my money and put it on the World Series? I'm like, I'm not the handler anymore. You
bit off a little more than you could chew.
You now have gotten your own itch.
Yes.
It's time for you to scratch it. I scratched your first itch.
Uh-huh.
I handled all the money. I'm going to give you your money, and whatever you do with that from there, I want no part of it.
I like to think of that as how we approach this program. We're trying to bring this to more people and give them opportunity, sort of take away the level of intimidation that is around walking in a sports book, placing your first sports bet. It's unbelievably easy here with all the kiosks. They point it out for you. You don't have to go up to those big boards and tell them numbers and all that.
No.
You click some buttons, you got yourself some bets.
You can even grab a piece of paper.
Sure
if you're
old school.
If you're an old school kind of person, scribble on it,
Yes.
circle some things, write some notes, look at the teams, look at the injury reports, look at it all and take your time. Like it's very inviting, and our job as well is to provide opportunity. Mm-hmm. We will not always win. Nope. We will never, ever sit here and say that. Never. It is very tough to win. But Josh DiMaggio is also promoted because he has hit on a couple plus $600 bets. One that rings true to my mind was he picked out Jalen Hurts' longest rush in the Super Bowl. Uh-huh. And when he said that, I was like, that the Joshy lives in that plus 500, plus 600 range. And Jalen Hurts ended up with Saquon Barkley, who obviously led the league in rushing, winning the longest rush in the Super Bowl, doing well on other things that he did there as well.
It was a good Super Bowl for us.
It was. And so it might not be this year.
Nope.
But last year it was. We will call out the bad losses. We will call out the bad wins, and we'll keep you informed on the numbers and the lines and the spreads and the totals and the futures based off things that are happening around mostly your local sports teams. So for instance here, this is actually a tricky show to do as your first show.
Yes.
Because something huge happened in the world of sports, and it happened right here in Wisconsin. Micah Parsons, if you missed it, is a Green Bay Packer. The Packers traded 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark for one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Josh could give you statistics. I could give you statistics. what you need to know is he's a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time All-Pro.
Yep.
In 4 seasons.
Yep. Yeah, and that's before we begin the conversation about just how much the odds changed at all these at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The addition of one player, and this is something you'll hear us say throughout the season,
yes,
and you'll hear every gambling expert say, players other than quarterbacks almost never move lines.
Everyone be like, but oh my gosh, Jayden Reed, he led the Packers in receiving yards the last 2 years. He did not practice today. This is a real example. Jayden Reed will not play or not play. Touch whatever happens for the spread for the Green Bay Packers on Sunday against the Lions.
You can even elevate that. Josh Jacobs, if he moves it at all, it's at half a point. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a scenario where he doesn't really move the line at all. But Micah Parsons changed the Packers' win total for the season by an entire win. The Detroit game that we all looked at sort of right when the schedule came out and they gave us those early look at the lines here at Potawatomi, Micah Parsons moved it a point in the favor of the Packers.
I think even bigger to mention, and this is why it is hard, because if you would have believed that the Packers were going to be real, you could have had and some people probably did, right? From a pure fandom standpoint, the same way that we bet on the season-long Brewers win-loss total, a plus 2,000 odds to win the Super Bowl is very fun. You put 10 down, you get 200. You put 100 down, you get 2,000. The Packers are plus 2,000 pre-Micah Parsons. Speaking of one player, he is so significant to the Packers now that he moved it to plus 1,400 for the Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl. That is a massive swing for a team that was behind many teams and jumped a lot of teams as the third favorite in the NFC North. So when they were sitting around the Commanders, the Niners, the Rams, the Bengals, they have jumped all those teams due to Micah Parsons.
You guys have given me a lot of guff about my little notebook here that I carry around.
It ain't little.
It's got notes that date back, and I have right here from 6/18. The futures of the NFL bets, I have the Packers minus 1.5 against the Detroit Lions. I've got the Super Bowl that you just mentioned that was at 2,000. Do you know what the Packers were in NFC Championship odds at that time?
I think plus 1,000 or 1,200, and they're now like
1,000, and they're now plus 650.
Yeah, 650.
Completely flipped the odds there. The NFC North, Lions were plus 120, Packers were plus 275.
So, yeah, were the Lions plus money still?
The Lions were plus money, but barely, plus 120.
Okay.
So they weren't overwhelming favorites, but they were...
I couldn't remember because I thought I might have seen minus 110, minus 120, but now they're in lockstep.
So the Packers to win the NFC North back on 6/18 were plus 275. That number is now plus 180, and the Lions are plus 175. So Micah Parsons, one singular trade, made such a massive dent, it's sort of hard to comprehend. One single player not being a quarterback, totally shifting the odds and the expectations for everyone.
It's so funny that we're having the conversation about one player shifting odds when the majority of 99% of our content here on the Weekly Wager at Potawatomi Casino Hotel and their wonderful sportsbook will be telling you
that it
does not. One player does not affect a week line or a future line unless you are a quarterback.
I think it speaks to two main things. One, it's just how monumental of a move and a type of player that Micah Parsons is. And it also tells us that they found what I think is not an exaggeration to be the singular guy, if the Packers had a choice to pluck a player off of any team and make them a Packer, that they would have done it. He fit a specific need that this team needed to a degree that I don't think we can overstate. I believe if the Packers said if you were told the Packers you can have any edge rusher in the league right now, I think Micah Parsons is 1-1 on their pick before they made the trade.
Well, we will dive deeper coming up next year on the Weekly Wager into the Green Bay Packers. And look, you might have probably missed your opportunity right now for some futures bets because you're getting really close to some of these NFL games going live, which even though if you want to bet on Jordan Love's over-under, believe it or not, an impact of a Thursday night football game, seeing what happens with Jalen Hurts, who's an MVP candidate, is Jordan Love somebody who could jump in there? Like, those things have an impact. So you might have missed that, which means we'll go right to Sunday. There are props and lines out for Sunday. So coming up next, we dive deep into the Sunday 3:25 Week 1 matchup, Packers-Lions. We will get to some opportunities for the Milwaukee Brewers as well and take you through some of the most important games as it pertains to the Green Bay Packers. Not scoreboard watching, but taking a look inside the division and some of those bigger games on Sunday night and Monday Night Football. All ahead on the Weekly Wager with Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio from the wonderful Potawatomi Sportsbook.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN. Brew Crew Tuesdays are back September 9th.
Turio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Texas Rangers.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in September 9th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee or check your local listings to watch the game.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman here with some exciting news from my friends at Bank 5-9.
Not only have they been named a top workplace for 16 straight years, but they've just won the prestigious Community Choice Award as the best bank in the Milwaukee area. Honestly, I'm not surprised. Not only do they have great products and services, but they truly live out their mission to make lives better. If you're looking for a true local community bank, check out the best. Visit bank59.com to learn more today. Member FDIC.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Micah Parsons has been traded to the green and gold.
When you have a defense like that we already know is really good, and then you add a guy like that, NFC Championship games should be very familiar.
I can't believe it, but it's real, and it is spectacular.
You talked about good team knocking on the door. Brian Gutekunst put his foot through the door, knocked it open, put the entire league on notice with this trade.
Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Get your golf fix every Tuesday night at 6 with On the Tee.
Spieth is probably going to, embarrass me at some point. The hell do you know? Shut up and carry the bag.
Join Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson as they dissect all things pro golf and tell the tales of their own golfing journeys in Wisconsin.
I think it's golf in its purest form, and I think it should bookend the golf season.
Go On the Tee with Gabe and Stephen, sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort and Gruber Law Offices. Tuesday nights at 6 on 94.5 ESPN and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. A customizable homepage, easier and quicker live listening. Your shows at the touch of a fingertip.
Turn on your TV and watch the damn greatness in front of your nose.
At the end of the day, that's what you're measured by, championship.
Available in Apple and Android app stores. Your one-stop shop for ESPN Wisconsin. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Whether it's it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
It is the Weekly Wager, and we're back for a long time, taking you every Wednesday till around, the best time of the year. Football season, March Madness, Masters, the NBA regular season props we'll be able to look at as well. College football, it's all there for us, but the excitement is real when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. 800-990-3776 is the Carbless Talk and Text line if you ever want to get us on there. Chris Larson's running the show. Again, Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio here with you. We can jump right to it, Josh, because the player props are out.
Yes.
For Sunday's game against the Detroit Lions. The Packers, will give the outlook for the game, are favored by 2.5 points. At one point, they were 2, down to 1.5. Micah news makes sense that they're favored by 2.5. The over-under is 47. To me, that seems low first glance as an under-better. But there could be some feeling out for both teams week one as they both try and discover their new identities with a healthy Jordan Love, a new Matthew Golden, a new offensive line, and then on the other side, 2 new coordinators.
I think the tough thing to figure out if you're looking at the total of 47 is how much do you believe that Ben Johnson played an impact? How much do you believe his play sequencing was an advantage for that team, and how much are they going to miss him? If the Lions start off week one slow on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think any of us should be shocked. I also don't think we should be shocked if they come out looking like a team that's pretty damn good, because they hired from within, and a lot of the team that was there last year is still there. Like, the biggest loss, aside from offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, who's now the head coach for the Bears, was their center retiring. But they already had a plan for another center to eventually take over. It was just a little bit early. A lot of times in the early part of the year, it seems like the offenses are a little more behind the defenses.
Correct.
Just because of the precise nature of offenses in 2025 and sort of the timing having to be all aligned. I do think it is an advantage that they just replaced the play caller, and it's largely going to be the same players out there.
Yeah, they have a ton of talent on the other side of the football. This to me is a scary spot for the Lions to be underdogs. But it speaks to, I think, what people in the books feel about the Green Bay Packers is that they're legit. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because we're going to be doing this all season long. I personally don't go by this rule as much anymore. A lot of times when you look at a home team, they say in the NFL, 3 points are baked in for the home team.
Yeah.
I feel like that is too much, and it is shrinking by the moment.
I think you're correct. I think you're on the right path. I haven't done a deep dive on the actual place, because some places still are considerable home field advantages, some places aren't. I think it was the conventional wisdom and probably conventional practice that a team like the Green Bay Packers, who are typically successful at home, would have the same home field advantage as, say, the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. We all know that not to be necessarily correct. It is not the same. You are not experiencing the same sort of advantage, because we know, and what that tells us, the home field advantage is obviously you're in your own bed, you're in familiar facilities, there's less hubbub around what you're doing, but also the number one impact of home field advantage is how your fans affect the referees and their calls. That's where a lot of that comes from. And I think the less sort of loud and in tune fan base is going to have a lesser impact than the louder ones.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring that up is because when I look at the Packers being favored by 2.5, you're talking about a team that just won 14 games?
Yes.
Were they 15-2? Regardless, you get my point.
Yes.
The Lions have won the North the last 2 seasons. They're a team that's played at Lambeau Field. They're a team that's won on Thursday Night Football, embarrassed the Packers at Lambeau Field. They did win both games. It was a sloppy, snowy game last year at Lambeau Field that they did win. Going back to the Dan Campbell era, the big win for the Packers was on Thanksgiving 2 seasons ago as part of the run for Jordan Love. So when I think about like a Detroit Lions, very talented, a lot of the same guys, I don't really think about home field advantage. I just think where the value may be. Now, I know this is a Josh DiMaggio favorite. Have you looked at the anytime touchdown scorers? Yeah, okay. I mean, because I think the Lions have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Yep. They get the majority of the running back share of touchdowns. You're not going to find a lot of great odds.
No,
it's your main 5 skill position players that'll run through quickly. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Jamison Williams with speed, and Sam Laporta, your tight end. Who's kind of a boom or bust type, big gamer block, and he's kind of like the Kittle type in terms of his numbers. What I find fascinating is after Josh Jacobs for anytime touchdown scoring, he's minus 175. So you got to lay $175 to win 100. So I think that is very high. I wouldn't touch that. Then it becomes Matthew Golden as the next highest at plus 190. Tucker Kraft plus 215. Then you got Jaden Reed, who was not practicing today, Romeo Doubs, both at plus 240. Chris Brooks comes in before Dontavian Wicks. Jordan Love plus 700. I mean, that's kind of enticing to throw like $5 on, knowing that he's healthier. But scary because it's still him running with a thumb.
You haven't gone deep enough, Benny.
Ben Sims?
No.
Malik Heath?
No, mine is Luke Musgrave.
Luke Musgrave.
Plus 950, a guy who was the presumptive leader in that tight end room before suffering injuries and the emergence of Tucker Kraft. We heard in some of the joint practices that the tight ends for the Packers, I believe it was against the Colts, were simply unstoppable, and that Luke Musgrave has looked incredible at points of this offseason. I think there's sort of a narrative to build around there. Hey, we've got this new fun toy, even though he's not new, but a toy that hasn't been around here. Yeah. A guy that's super explosive, super fast, a big guy, and not the first person you're going to account for. Probably not even the first 4 people you're counting for when you see the Packers lineup. You're going to be looking at Josh Jacobs. You're going to be looking at Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft, and then Reed and Dobbs. So I love that plus 950 as sort of just the wild dart throw of Matt LaFleur is going to be in his bag for this game.
He has to be.
This is a huge game. It's a giant game against a division opponent, an opponent that's sort of eaten your lunch as of recent. So you're going to, you're going to want to pull out all of the stops here. And I think I love that plus 950 as sort of a single dart throw. You put $5-10 on it, you root for it, and when it comes to the goal line and you see Luke Musgrave around the or on the field, that's when you start to get real excited.
And hopefully they're practicing utilizing some play action in the red zone to make such things happen. Now, Rich Pecker and Spread Eagle right up Highway 69 chimes in 800-990-3776 on the Carbless Talking text line. Is there going to be a running tally of Josh v. Benny? Best bet still alive? ? You betcha.
Yep, we're still going to do it. I think we're going to be competitive. I don't know if there'll be as much animosity towards each other.
Oh, because Jen took weeks off and was like, there
was a boycott. I promise I will not boycott at any point. The other one I wanted to throw in quickly was Romeo Doubs at plus 240, I think is pretty good value for a game that has a decent amount of points in it. I think Matthew Golden, as high as I am on him and his sort of season outlook, game 1 plus 190, those sort of odds I don't feel like are good enough to get me involved in it.
No,
and I think,
not from an anytime touchdown.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love or Matthew Golden or Romeo Doubs to Devontae Adams, but Love and Dobbs have that sort of mind meld where they know where each other's going to be. They know sort of around the goal line. It's evident for the past 2 seasons. Jordan Love trusts Romeo Doubs.
Third downs as well.
And expects him to be where he expects him to be. And I think getting sort of the value there, a guy who's a little further down the list, at plus 240, that's another one that I would like. I do want to say, when it comes to the Lions side, I think we're going to see a total shift in their backfield. And I think early in the season, if you want to exploit some of these Jahmyr Gibbs lines, be it his rushing, his receiving, or his odds to score a touchdown, I think he's going to sort of take over that backfield. He was just so damn good. At some point, you look and go, do we want the supercharged first-round pick, or do you want David Montgomery, who's been great?
I mean, your evidence is there because David Montgomery did have a knee injury the last 4 games of the season before playing, I believe, in their playoff game. And Jahmyr Gibbs was unbelievable.
He's electrifying.
He is unbelievable. And so I think I'm glad you mentioned that because there is one on here that his his receiving and rushing total is under 100 yards for receiving and rushing.
Yes.
He has home run ability on any time he touches the football, which should be 20 times. I mean, 15 to 20. He's Aaron Jones on steroids.
Yeah, you want
to Packer fans,
right? He has the size to carry more of a workload than an Aaron Jones. He's sort of prototypical. They drafted him where they drafted him to use him, and the whole Sonic and Tails thing they had going on has made sense.
You just need Sonic.
But at some point, you look at the guys you got in the backfield, you see one guy taking off and breaking off 60-yarders, and you go, that's just the guy we should be giving the ball to most. And I think we're going to see that happen. And to be frank, they probably want David Montgomery, who's not necessarily old, but has had more damage done to his body. Their plans are Super Bowl in Detroit, so they want him around all season long. I think they're going to rely heavily on Jahmyr Gibbs when it comes to throughout the season.
Well, there's plenty of more to hit on for this Sunday game. Man, the 1 hour show just flies too fast. Ben Bruss, Josh DiMaggio with you at 800-990-3776, the Carbless Talk and text line. You can get us there or on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee. We're from the wonderful Potawatomi Sportsbook. We continue getting ready for the Packers-Lions, a preview of what you could look for from what we're looking at and what you could potentially bet on. Plus, we did collect some money for the Brewers' season-long win total. Is there anything out there for that playoff push? We'll hit on all that and get to our 4 games that we are excited to tell you how we feel in the NFC North, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, all next at the Weekly Wager.
We're back talking bets after this on the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Any coach will tell you, games are won in the preparation. The same's true in cybersecurity. Trend Micro helps businesses move from reactive to proactive with cyber risk exposure management. That means real-time visibility into your risks across cloud, email, endpoints, and networks. For over 35 years, enterprises worldwide have trusted Trend Micro to prepare, protect, and perform. Don't wait for the next threat to blow the whistle. Get secure now at trendmicro.com because the best defense is being ready before the game even starts.
Hey, it's Jason Wilden. Our family loves when Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles arrives at our home. And now football season has arrived, so try the green and gold Kringle. Traditional pecan Kringle and cheesecake Kringle topped with green and gold sprinkles. A crowd pleaser at any game day party. Order today at Kringle.com or 1-800-4DANISH. Easy to remember. Kringle.com or 1-800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, not just a treat, it's a tradition and the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin.
This summer, your wishes take center stage at WishFest at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Play your favorite games with your Potawatomi Rewards card all summer for over $1 million in prizes and earn entries into the WishFest prize drawings on Friday, September 26th. Your entries from July, August, and September all count. Plus, 5 lucky winners will have their ultimate wish granted. Wish big, win big. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Is back pain slowing you down? The OAW Spine Center offers specialized care with advanced treatments for herniated discs, spinal fusion, and more. Their board-certified orthopedic care specialists use the least invasive methods, starting with non-surgical options. If surgery is needed, they provide minimally invasive procedures. The OAW Spine Specialists focus on getting you back to an active lifestyle faster. The OAW Spine Center. There is a difference. Visit OAWSpineCenter.com.
Micah Parsons has been traded to the green and gold.
When you have a defense like that we already know is really good, and then you add a guy like that, NFC Championship games should be very familiar.
I can't believe it, but it's real, and it is spectacular.
We talked about good team knocking on the door. Brian Gutekunst put his foot through the door, knocked it open, put the entire league on notice with this trade.
Stay up to date with the news right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Get your golf fix every Tuesday night at 6 with On the Tee.
Like, Spieth is probably going to, embarrass me at some point. What the hell do you know? Shut up and carry the bag.
Join Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson as they dissect all things pro golf and tell the tales of their own golfing journeys in Wisconsin.
I think it's golf in its purest form, and I think it should bookend the golf season.
Go On the Tee with Gabe and Stephen, sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort and Gruber Law Offices. Tuesday nights at 6 on 94.5 ESPN and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. A customizable homepage, easier and quicker live listening. Your shows at the touch of a fingertip.
Turn on your TV and watch the damn greatness in front of your nose.
At the end of the day, that's what you're measured by, championship.
Available in Apple and Android app stores. Your one-stop shop for ESPN Wisconsin. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing?
I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way, I hit that microphone 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Live from Potawatomi Sportsbook. That pretzel stood no chance. The food is always amazing here. The hospitality is 10-star. I know they do 5-star. I'm doing 10-star.
Wow. You started your own star
ranking
ranking
my own
system?
star ranking system. 10-star here at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in the Sportsbook. Ben Bruss, Josh DiMaggio with you, with Chris Larson producing. You can get us on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee, of course, on the Carbless Talk and text line, as we just continue to get excited that we can't believe that football's here, and it makes sense because Micah Parsons really helped get it here faster without us knowing it. And so it snuck up on us, but it's here, and it's here with a better reason to be excited as a Green Bay Packer fan, because legitimately he has one player, and we'll keep saying it, one player does not change lines unless you're a quarterback or a defensive end who is a game-changing player. Your favorite wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, if he doesn't play, maybe moves it a half a point on the line.
He might not even, because given the context of that team with a guy like Jordan Addison, he's more than apt to fill a position like that.
But he's also out for the first.
Correct. Right. I was just
yes.
using the most relatable one. So like a guy with Justin Jefferson who has no talent behind him certainly does, but in that situation it probably wouldn't even move. Like the Cincinnati Bengals, if Jamar Chase doesn't play, it's likely not moving the line really at all because you have a guy like T. Higgins there. The Packers were so bereft and lacking of edge rushing talent that it changed everything. And one of the most gratifying things about it is think of how your expectations, removing the sports betting odd from it, changed for the Packers season, and then to see those same expectations reflected back into the
very
sports
validating.
Yes, it makes you feel.
It's like we've been screaming about wanting a defensive end, so this actually does help.
Right?
Like we're not just feeling.
We were on to something.
Yeah, like this thing's translating,
and it also translates to my expectations for the season for the Green Bay Packers elevated a whole heap of a lot, and so did the sportsbook's expectation for the season of the Green Bay Packers.
So I'm not going to lie, one that is so enticing to me based off the cornerback room of the Green Bay Packers is Amon-Ra St. Brown's over-under for receiving.
I'm conspicuous about his level of involvement with the emergence of a guy like Jameson Williams. They've been raving all offseason about him. The number for Amon-Ra is certainly not particularly high, and it feels like even with the Jeff Hafley defense, there still seems to be those sort of big slot guys who really take advantage of the Packers defense. I think an important factor is what's the status of Nate Hobbs and how much is he going to, because this is sort of, to me, the perfect position that you pay a bigger slot guy like that who specializes at the position.
He did not practice today.
Correct. And I think that would sort of determine how I'm feeling about it, but I think you're right on pace in terms of he's a rare talent at that position. I do want to sort of see it before I dive back into fully believing in him once again. I would try and target a little bit of Jameson Williams, but that point total is so high, and their receiving yards of Amon-Ra's is 64, and Jameson Williams is 50.5.
Up 65.5.
Oh.
Jameson up to 52.5. And the Jameson thing scares me a little bit. That's one where I would actually say opposite to you is I know how explosive he is. Mm-hmm. I would like to see his true involvement be a little bit more consistent before I'm jumping in week one to a guy like that, where I know Jared Goff and Amon-Ra have a connection, and it's one of those where it's like he's off his break and the ball's where it needs to be.
Totally understand. The one thing I fear, though, is by week 2 and 3, is his total going to be 15 yards higher? I mean, the fact that it climbed 2 yards from what I saw just a few short hours ago kind of tells you that I might not be the only one with that opinion on it. It certainly probably is being bet that way. But the early season is one of those, it's a lot of feeling out process when it comes to the individual players and at a team-wide level. There is one, Ben, I don't know if it's a rushing number.
Jordan Love over 4.5.
I mean, I saw this one and I said, how do we not? It was an emphasis of the offseason.
Literally. Like, and he himself had to talk about not using his legs last year. Like,
correct.
We're talking a scramble for 7 yards for a first down, on a third down that he probably would have liked to have done last year, but he just couldn't do it because he was physically unable to.
Yes. Yeah, that one to me is like my gold star. I'm running for the opportunity to make that bet. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this show is over and it gets closer to Sunday, that number's creeped up 2-3 yards there in terms of it's been such an emphasis, and that's where if you pay attention like we do and all the Packers fans out there to the stuff that gets said during the offseason, they'll tell you hints because I mean, for the sports book, they need to see it to believe it.
Correct.
They can't just trust what Matt LaFleur is saying. They don't have the time to listen to every press conference and filter out what is just the coach saying something or
this is probably an aggregate of 2 years of data, and they're like, all right, based off what he did last year, this is the number we're spitting out. And until he proves otherwise, they're going to put this at a reasonable spot for you to take advantage of. That is one where I have placed an individual bet for Homer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Home Slice putting down on a single bet here?
He heard 4.5 for Love, and he knows what we're talking about, the emphasis that they talked about.
Was it last year where we bet basically every opportunity the over on, was it Dontavian Wicks? Because his numbers were so low and the books weren't quite there, because he was inconsistent, but he oftentimes, in one pass.
There is a player that I know that you're talking about. Yes. I have a feeling they're not a local Packer.
Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
I thought it was Wicks, but I could be misled on that. But that's the type of thing that makes the early season so much fun, is you can spot those guys pretty quickly, and a place like Potawatomi is going to be slower to move on that, because you got to be able to, you're trying to entice people to bet, and you can't make big sweeping judgments off of only a couple data points.
You can change it once you see it, but I think there's a big opportunity at that 4.5 rushing yards for Jordan Love. We have 4 games picked out that we would like to start tracking our wins and losses. Because it's just us two, we're not doing a best bet. We might be on the same side of some of these. It's just natural, but there are 4 games. Vikings-Bears, a divisional game, Monday Night Football. The Cowboys and Eagles, they kick off the NFL season tomorrow. The Ravens and Bills, a Sunday night football, not special, just normal Sunday night football. And, of course, your Packers and Lions at 3:25. We're going to hit those 4 games against the spread. We'll give you our sides and quick reasonings as we wrap up the Weekly Wager. It's Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio with you at the Weekly Wager at Potawatomi Casino Hotel.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Boy, all that pomp and circumstance, and it turned out to be a big, fat zero, donut, goose egg involving Bill Belichick's debut as North Carolina head coach. It wasn't as close as the 40-14 final at the hands of TCU. But with all that going on, Michael Jordan was there. Randy Moss, who didn't play in North Carolina but still loves Bill Belichick, he was there. Lawrence Taylor was there. Oh, Roy, the North Carolina basketball coach, was there. Mia Hamm was there. And then it all added up to nothing, Nathan, nada. But that's not the most important thing. They got plenty of football to try to rectify that. If you're Bill Belichick, as well as North Carolina football. Just seeing his demeanor, it looked like someone who really didn't want to be there. It looked like somebody who said, how did I get here when I should still be in the National Football League? Why was not one NFL team thinking about taking a chance on me when all those coaching openings happened? Bill Belichick is the coach of North Carolina, at least for 2025. But for how long? Right now, that pocket may be a lot emptier than people think. In 60 seconds, it is all on Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott.
GNC knows that you're not always feeling it at the gym. But don't get down, get lit, and get more out of every workout. Beyond Raw Lit is a clinically dosed pre-workout that flips the switch and gives you more energy, focus, intensity, and pumps. The perfect combo for a killer workout. Plus, it's got incredible flavors and thousands of 5-star reviews, so you know it's good. Pick it up at GNC stores or go to gnc.com.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
So now that Micah Parsons got traded, we no longer have to worry about what's going to happen to the Dallas Cowboys. Is he going to be there when they play the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday to kick off the NFL season? The most important thing is Dak Prescott, not just as a quarterback, but maybe as a player, has more on his plate to succeed than anybody else in the National Football League. Yeah, I know Josh Allen in Buffalo has not been able to get past Kansas City. Yeah, I know Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP for the Baltimore Ravens, they've not been able to have that deep playoff run. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City after getting stomped by the Eagles. Yeah, there's a lot on his plate. And the Eagles, being the champs from last year, they want to make it back-to-back. But if you're Dak Prescott playing for that organization with all that money and no Micah Parsons on the other side of the defense to help you lead this team, and a brand new head coach, as much he thought was on his plate before, his plate is completely full. How he eats will determine exactly what the Cowboys would do and how much they'll eat or not eat in 2025. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
Get your golf fix every Tuesday night at 6 with On the Tee.
Spieth is probably going to, embarrass me at some point. What the hell do you know? Shut up and carry the bag.
Join Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson as they dissect all things pro golf and tell the tales of their own golfing journeys in Wisconsin.
I think it's golf in its purest form, and I think it should bookend the golf season.
Go On the Tee with Gabe and Stephen, sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort and Gruber Law Offices. Tuesday nights at 6 on 94.5 ESPN and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Wrapping up the Weekly Wager, going through some of the big games in the NFL slate. Tomorrow night, the opener, the Cowboys-Eagles. Joshy, I send it to you. Eagles at home, -8.5.
Yeah, this one's easy to me. I think the Dallas Cowboys are in absolute disarray. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to score a lot of points. They're going to want to run it up. They're going to want to stick Jerry Jones's face in the fact that they just let an all-pro walk. I like the Eagles -8.5, and if I were to actually place money on this, I'd probably push this one up a little bit if I could and try and get some of those better odds.
I'm not doing the fade thing already. It's just one of those things where I know week 1 and week 2, just from a pure number standpoint, you're supposed to look for the highest underdogs. And this is the highest underdog of the card.
How many times are those highest underdog losing their best player 1 week before the first game?
Don't like your context. I'm going with Dallas +8.5. We're going to move on to Sunday night football. You have the Ravens and the Bills. This is basically a pick 'em. We're going to call it a pick 'em.
Yeah, I like the Ravens side here. I think this is absolute put up or shut up season for Lamar Jackson. I trust the coaching staff more of the Baltimore Ravens. Frankly, I trust Lamar Jackson a little bit more than I trust Josh Allen. I also think Lamar might be looking for a little revenge for what some would say was a snub for the MVP. So I like the Ravens side in this Week 1 matchup.
I do too. I just love the way that they continue to be such a strong defensive team, even after moving with pieces. And for some reason, Derrick Henry doesn't age.
Nope.
Derrick Henry will open up so much for Lamar, and we'll see what Zay Flowers about. I don't know. The Bills, to me, felt like they were still a little fraudulent,
yes.
and Josh Allen just sort of carried them, so I'm with you on the Ravens here. Before we get to the Packers and the Lions, one more game, Monday Night Football, Vikings-Bears, Bears +1.5 at home.
I think we're going to be talking about a breakout for a young quarterback. But I think that young quarterback that the breakout's going to be about is J.J. McCarthy, and I think we're going to be singing the praises of a guy named Kevin O'Connell. I like the Vikings -1.5 here. I'm super suspicious of everything I saw out of Chicago in the preseason. Every piece of information you heard about that team and sort of the disjointed nature. I think the Bears are going to improve. I don't think they're going to improve Week 1. I think Brian Flores is going to give Caleb Williams an absolute terrible time with his first game.
Yeah, we're same side here. Until Caleb Williams shows me something, I feel like he's not going to show it against one of the highest blitzing defensive coordinators in the league.
Right.
I can't. Like, part of me thinks the Bears divisional game, take them. I just can't. They have to prove something, and I trust O'Connell, the overall talent that the Vikings have over the Bears. So we get to the Packers and the Lions. Packers -2.5 at home against the Lions. And Josh, I'm not going to lie, it's hard for me to turn down the Lions at plus any points.
So my heart is telling me to take the Lions side with the plus odds. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bet with my heart. My mind.
Okay, so I think
did I flip it around?
Yeah, you flipped it. But
well, yes, my mind is telling me that you should absolutely take the points in the Lions.
Heart guy.
But I'm going to bet with my heart. I think if we make a case for this, those coordinators, both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, missing from this team matters a lot. The offense is going to look more sluggish than it has in the past, and the infusion of talent and excitement around Micah Parsons elevates the Packers to win by at least a field goal.
They still are so damn.
You're making the smarter bet.
They're so damn talented.
I'm fully.
I gotta take the points. Like you're telling me I get the Lions and the points. I mean, they're so talented.
I'm fully.
They have a game record too. Like Goff is efficient. So I'll go Lions. Like we got a couple that are different,
Yes.
a couple that are the same. So the records won't be the same next week. This has been the Weekly Wager from Potawatomi Casino Hotel. We'll be with you Wednesdays, and make sure that you follow along with our picks and enjoy and bet responsibly. And head on over to the great Potawatomi Casino Hotel. For Ben Bruss, Josh DiMaggio, and Chris Larson, you on 94.5 ESPN have Thanalysis coming up next.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs,